Hello, what is up guys? Evildoer here today, back with another Black Desert video. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at part 3 to our trading series, and in this part we're going to be doing the processing as well as node setup for trade crates in particular. This video relies heavily on the first two videos in the series, so if you haven't watched those already, go ahead and check them out. Links to both of these videos, Trading Guide Part 1 and 2, are in the description below. Also, this video guide is going to require a solid understanding of how node networks and workers work, so if you haven't watched my videos on nodes and workers, then check that video out as well. But yeah, by the end of this video, hopefully you'll know how to pick out different nodes to feed into your network, as well as how to process those goods, turn them into trade crates that you can then sell for a profit. Anyway, quickly before we get into the video, if you're new to my channel, new to Black Desert, or you've been watching the videos on the channel and still have not subscribed yet, please consider it. Helps to grow my channel, pushing for 100k this year. Would love to hit it. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start off with the nodes themselves. So our node network, the way that we set it up, is based around wood crates. So the network that we set up in the first two videos about wood crates. There are three relevant types for the node network that I'm going to show you here. However, you can make additional crates and whatnot depending on how you feel. The three that I'm going to mention, though, are going to be the Calpheon Timber Crate, which is made of fir, birch, and cedar, the Medea Timber Crate, which is made of acacia and white cedar, and the Serendia Timber Crate, which is made of maple and pine. Of these three crate types, the Calpheon Crate has a 25% higher value than the next closest crate, which is pretty darn cool. However, it takes 50% longer to make because it requires 50% more materials. Because of this, when you are making these crates, you want to make sure that you are selling these off in your workshop in the city of Grana, just so you get that additional multiplier from the additional distance between Grana and Valencia. So when you're making that final sale, that extra 10% really stacks on top of that 25% to help you out a bit. Now, obviously, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you where to make them, but that's where I would recommend it anyway. The timbers themselves for this crate are easily obtainable around the city of Calpheon. There's a lot of people that have a little node network set up around here, pulling those wood in and sell them on the market, so it's usually readily available in the game. Also, if you do any Calpheon timbering, you are going to gather some of the items as well. So while you're out logging, you'll gather the wood that you need if you're a gatherer. So all in all, a pretty solid crate to make. The only downside is that additional crafting time. The next up is the Medea Timber Crate, which is slightly less valuable than the Calpheon Timber Crate. However, only requires 2 materials to process. Because of this, it ends up taking less time to craft, which means you can end up making a bit more silver per amount of time you spend on it, actually. The downside to this timber crate is that it's only available from a very few number of nodes in the Medea region as far as obtaining the timber, and there's no good rotation to farm this. There's not a great easy one that's great money making, so it tends to trickle in and onto the marketplace as far as the timber, plywoods, and planks go. But if you can find a way to bring in good numbers of this resource, you will be able to make a good amount of money off of it. Last one we're going to talk about is the Serendia Timber Crate. I know that there is the Balanos Timber Crate as well, but we're only going to go up to the Serendia, and that is because the Serendia Timber Crate uses pine and maple. Pine is literally like 90% of the trees in this game. If you look anywhere, you're probably going to find a pine tree. That means it's up in every single gathering rotation for people that are gathering timbers, and it's usually really well in stock on the central marketplace for a relatively cheap price. This is going to leave you with maple that you need to gather for this box, and maple's a bit more difficult. There are, however, a lot of nodes right around beginner areas of the game, so it tends to be well stocked on the central marketplace, and also the nodes are right in locations that we went by with our worker empire already. So we should be able to bring in a good amount of this ourselves. It's not super easy to gather though, not in really good high density locations. But that's the basics with the three type of crates we're going to look at for this video series. So now to backtrack all the way to the Calpheon one, let's take a look at the nodes on the map that have the Calpheon timber in it that we passed by during setting up our network. The first one we're going to run into is the Longleaf Tree Forest. So this is right here on our way up from Grana and Old Wisdom Tree up through Calpheon. Remember I told you to go to the left instead of the right? This is why we went to the left over here. So this one has, for one contribution point, a cedar node that you can pick up. Further up the path, if we head over to the Lumberjack's Rest area, this is also a cedar node that we have already. Just have to put another singular contribution point into this. Moving further up, we get to the Abandoned Monastery. So the Abandoned Monastery has an offshoot to the Treant Forest. Treant Forest is another 1 contribution point wonder. So for a total of 2 contribution points, you get a fir node. Moving further up still, one above Tabara's Cabin, we have the Matcha Forest. So Tabara's Cabin we already picked up. Matcha Forest is 1 additional node. This costs 2 contribution points, plus 1 for the node itself, so that is 3 contribution points for a fir node. To the right of Tabara's Cabin, if we work our way across and over, we will find Fennell's Cabin. Fennell's Cabin is another node that we already have invested in for setting up our original network, which means it's another singular point here to get another fir node. So on this bottom side of Calpheon, we've picked up 2 cedars and 3 fir nodes, which all feed into that Calpheon timber crate. Pretty nice, right? So to the north of Calpheon, we have all of our birch trees, and we're going to have to put a bit more contribution points in if we want to pick these up. The easiest to access is going to be the one at Old Dandelion. This is going to require several contribution points because you have to go through DS Farm and the Northern Wheat Plantation first. North of the Northern Wheat Plantation, we have the Bree Tree Ruins, and the Bree Tree Ruins is another birch tree node. And off to the right, if we travel through the Abandoned Land, Isolated Sentry Post, and ultimately Quint Hill, we have another birch tree node. The final Calpheon Timber node that we're going to pick up is going to be at Oz Pass, which is a node that we already have picked up during our first parts of our videos. So Oz Pass is another Cedar Timber node. So if you go ahead and connect all of these nodes, it is going to set you back 25 contribution points more than we have already invested in currently. So you're going to have to weigh that for yourself and decide if it's something you want to invest, if you want to put 25 contribution points into this. This will give you 3 fir, 3 cedar, and 3 birch tree nodes, which should be a pretty solid amount to fund your little crate empire that you're working on for quite a while, up until you start getting those artisan workers down in Grana. But all of those nodes were specific for the Calpheon Timber crate. If we take a look at the Medea crate, we're going to have to build up off of this little branch right here. So to the right of Heidel, we have the Camisil Temple, which is a node we have already connected. Above this, we have the Ancient Ruins Excavation Site, into the Canyon of Corruption, the Elric Shrine, which is our first node. The Elric Shrine is a white cedar timber node. Above that, we have the Medea Northern Highlands, which is a white cedar node, and a maple timber node. So one of those nodes that I said is all over the place for maple timber. One of them is up here as well that you can pick up. If instead of going to the north, we branch off of the Canyon of Corruption to the right side over here, we have the Stonetail Wasteland, which is the Acacia Tree node here in Black Desert. And that's it. Those are the only Medea timber nodes that you can get easily off of our node network that we've set up here. If you want to go ahead and connect all of those, you're looking at spending 15 contribution points. So once again, weigh that for yourself and decide if it's worth it to you. The last one we're going to talk about is the Serendia crate, and we're only going to talk about maple timber just because of how easy it is to get pine in this game. As far as our node network, we have 2 easy nodes, in addition to the Medea Northern Highland node, that are right off of our node network that we already set up. First one is at Castle Ruins. Castle Ruins is a node that we've already picked up in the first 2 videos. So for one more contribution point, you can pick up the Castle Ruins node here. And to the left of Heidel, we have the Northern Plain of Serendia, and this one is also a maple timber node. Easy node that we've already connected, so just another 1 contribution point wonder to pick that sucker up. If you want to bring in those 2 nodes plus the Northern Plain up here, you're looking at another 5 contribution point spend. And those are all the ones that I'm currently using, and they're the easiest ones to use off of the way that we set up our node network. As far as worker distribution, I'm a lazy person, and I have everything based out of Heidel for the nodes that are to the right of this little cliff right here. So from this side over, everything is run out of Heidel, just so I only have to go to one place to move the resources. All of the Calpheon timbers are then pulled in from the Calpheon workers, so they pull them all over there. That's my own personal distribution. You can set it up however you want. Tariff is closer for a lot of these different nodes. Now, if you don't believe me, or if you want to look for other node options or alternate locations, you can check out Fame's video tool here, the map, where you can just type in any resource that you want. So for example, maple, like we were just talking about, and it'll show you all the different locations where you can pick up maple timber in the game through nodes. All you do is click on a node, and it takes you to that spot. Pretty straightforward, super useful tool. It's linked in the description below. So once you got all those nodes set up, all you got to do is hire some workers like I showed you how to do in that other video, as well as this video series multiple times. Send them out to the fields to get that wood, and then you can start the next step of this whole process, which is the actual processing. But before you can process planks into plywood, you need to do a short quest line available in Heidel. A common theme with the Evil Do Us Harm YouTube channel is that I already have a guide for that, and right here I have a guide on that. It's recorded on my PS4 though, so do note that it's going to be lower graphics quality and blah 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 blah. But it's the same exact system for PC. Both PS4 and PC have the same quest line, so all you gotta do is play through this little quest. It only takes a couple minutes, and you'll have the ability to make plywood. The next thing you need to do is start working on your processing mastery so that you can use the mass process ability. So if you're completely new to life skilling, mastery is basically your AP except for life skillers. So just like combat gear, there is armor, accessories, and weapons, except it's this utensil slot down here. Each of these items provides you a different amount of mastery, and each of them is broken up into 3 tiers. There's the green, blue, and red tier of gear. Each tier becomes progressively more expensive with progressively more stats, and each of them is broken up into your typical Pride of Pen stat ranges that you're used to seeing with combat gear. So in the case of processing, the 3 tiers of armor are going to be the Craftsman Clothes, so we have Logia, Carta, and Manos, There's also silver embroidered, which are EXP boosting clothes. These are more useful for other life skills. They don't really do a ton for processing. You're going to be looking to do the mass processing, so you're going to want to take one of these options. As you can see, they increase in price, and as you can see, there's different ranks just like with combat gear, each of them providing a different mastery. So like right next to my mouse cursor, you can see all item effect, all processing masteries plus 220. That is the number. In the case of accessories, we have Logia accessories, Geranoa accessories, and Manos accessories, which once again break down in your typical up through pen stage. And the utensil for processing is the processing stone, go figure. In the case of wood chopping, we want to get the energy one. Each of these stones does a different type of processing, so you want the energy stone for processing wood. They have different colors, so don't get confused by the different colors at the different stages. But as you can see, it's broken into that same 3-tier system of Logia, Tekton, and the Manos gear. So each of those items that you pick up provides you with mastery. Mastery can be accessed in the life skill menu over here to the right. If you hover over your processing skill, you can see the bonus that you're getting for any one of these things. So you can see that my chopping skill now does 53 batches of materials. If I put on my craftsman clothes as well as my processing stone and head over to that menu again, under the life skill tab, you'll see I'm up to 1315, which is 144 batches of materials every time I go to process. So increasing this processing mastery number increases the total number of items you can process at every given time. It does not increase the amount of stuff you get, just the number of things that you process at any time. So it increases your throughput, which ultimately increases your profit per unit time. The processing mastery, as well as the correlating quantity processed for each of the different processing mastery numbers, is available on Grumpy Green's website. Link is in the description below, or you can just pause the video and take a look at it however you want to do it. So you can see it caps out at 250 items processed with every single process. Now, a big question I always get asked is, what gear should I buy to get started with this, Levi? What mastery gear should I have? Generally speaking, if you're just starting out and don't want to break the bank, but still want to get a good idea if you're going to enjoy this or not, try Logia seems to be the entry point. So try Logia gear, the Try Green Stage gear. It's a good starting point that doesn't cost a lot of money, but gives you some decent bonuses so you get an idea if you're going to like what you're doing. Obviously, from there, you can always go up and up and up and continue to progress through the stages. But with all of that out of the way, we can finally get into processing, and all you need to get started with it is going to be a processing stone, a mass processing stone. So if you need to get one and don't want to buy any life skill gear at all and just want to see how this works, Camilla Logia at Logia Farm, this NPC right here, will sell you a processing stone. So you don't have to buy it off the marketplace, you just got to take a trip up over there. But once you have that processing stone equipped and in your inventory, all you got to do is take some wood, bring it in your inventory, press the L key on the keyboard, go to the chopping tab, click on the wood, and click mass process. Your character will automatically begin to mass process that wood. And then you just sit here and wait. So by default, this process has a 67% success rate. You can boost this with different items. The first item that you can use to boost it is the pay to win costume. If you want to spend money, this gives you a 3% bonus chance to it, which would take you up to 70%. It also, however, allows you to process from the storage keeper, so you don't need to have the resources in your inventory. If I go ahead and equip that suit, talk to this guy, click on the storage, I can now process right from the central storage area, so I don't have to put this stuff in my inventory. So that's your pay-to-win benefit from the pay-to-win outfit. The next item that provides you a bonus is going to be a Sufood Kron meal. This gives you a 10% bonus chance to your processing success rate. Next up, we have the Voodoo Draft. The Voodoo Draft right here can be used to give you a 20% processing bonus rate. And the final easy one to pick up is going to be a Life Spirit Stone. These can be farmed in Polly's Forest or purchased off the Central Marketplace and provide you an 11% bonus. Other Life Spirit Stones, like the Khan's Heart of Life, provides you a 13%, and there's different percentages scaling up from there. But if you're just getting started out, the Life Spirit Stone should be enough to get you going. So any combination of those things that you want to hit 100%, it doesn't actually matter if you fail. It's not like if that processing doesn't succeed, you lose all of the resources. That does not happen. It just means you have to start over. So it lowers your throughput and ultimately lowers your amount of stuff processed per hour. Not the end of the world. But if you are looking to maximize your throughput, you will want to make sure you have that 100% uptime running. But anyway, when you finally finish processing all of the plywood that you needed to make for whatever you're trying to make crate-wise, all you need to do is take that plywood, distribute it to whichever workshop is currently manufacturing your goods for you, be it Grana, Old Wisdom Tree, Calpheon, wherever you got it set up. Set your workers to make it just like we showed you how to do in the first 2 videos of the series, and soon you'll be able to watch the profits flow in nearly as fast as water flows on Mars. But that is going to do it for this video. So if it's going to help you guys, do let me know in the comment section below. I know a lot of people were requesting me to finish this series off, so I made sure to do it just for you viewers at home. Once again, if you're not subscribed already, please consider it. Helps to grow my channel. Would love to hit 100K this year and would greatly appreciate your support. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching once again. I'll see you at the next live stream over on Twitch, the next YouTube video right here, or wherever I happen to see you. Peace.